Dorit and PK Kemsley reportedly owe $1.3 million in unpaid taxes. Now, this is actually probably a pretty interesting thing to cover on this, because here's the thing. The IRS is kind of like the KGB, where basically you cannot mess with them, right? Like, this is the thing. Out of all the things that all these celebrities could end up doing, not paying their taxes is like the number one thing that's probably going to get them. This is the same reason why I think Al Capone actually ended up getting punished, was because of taxes. So let's get into it. So Erica Jane isn't the only Real Housewife finding out that life can be just a little too expensive, whatever the hell that thing is. The hell? So Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member Dorit Kemsley and her husband Paul PK Kemsley, is that his his nickname or something? So reportedly owe more than $1.3 million combined in unpaid taxes dating back to 2015, and at the time of this recording is 2021. So for quite a few years, they have not been paying taxes. So according to documents obtained by The Sun, PK, who is 53, has two active solo tax liens in the state of California, one for $293,222.73 from back in 2015, and a second for $289,423.67 from October 2018. He and Dorit, 45, are then both named in a 2018 tax document that states the couple owes the IRS $635,887.23. So the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, or the RHOBH star, who often dresses in head-to-toe designer duds, rounds up the debt with her own individual tax lien from March 2021 that states she owes the state of California $90,269.46. So the total amount of everything is $1,308,803.09 according to The Sun, and all liens remain unpaid. So in September, the married couple, who share two young kids together, put their Encino, California mansion on the market for $9.5 million, but it has reportedly been reduced to $8 million. And also, Dorit and PK have both been previously entangled in a series of lawsuits involving their finances. So the British businessman won a 2019 sports betting case brought by a collection agency that said he owed a sports gambling firm $75,000 because the case was brought past the statute of limitations. He and Dorit then also settled a lawsuit with the Bellagio Hotel in May of that year. And so the casino first filed a case against PK in 2013 for failing to pay a $3.6 million casino marker that he took out, so basically like a loan. And alleged that after the music manager filed for bankruptcy in the UK, he stopped making payments. He was then ordered to pay until June 2018. However, both parties later resolved their differences. So in 2019, it was reported that Dorit's bank accounts had been frozen due to her husband's legal troubles. However, the housewife dismissed the claim on Watch What Happens Live in July of that year, stating it had all been blown up in the press. And on this week's episode of RHOBH, Dorit told her co-star Jane that she knows what it's like to be thrust in her husband's legal woes. So Jane is currently being accused of divorcing her 82-year-old husband, Tom Girardi, in an attempt to hide assets and embezzle money, and she has denied any wrongdoing, and the reps for Dorit and PK did not immediately return this page 6's request for comment kind of thing. But here's the thing, right? This is the thing that you could kind of like the thing that you can kind of like learn in this situation, because we always comment about like financial news related stuff, right? Because we're trying to help people master their money. So if you need help, go down below and learn how to master your money, or go to 40inbox.com. So here's the thing that you could kind of like learn from this situation. One, you should probably stay away from gambling. And also, if you have a problem with gambling, you need to take some steps in place to really have like a plan to slowly wean yourself out of it. Because here's the thing. The problem with gambling is that it's basically a game, and it's a game that you constantly lose money, right? Like, it's not like a game where you just end up losing time. It's a game where you lose time and potentially all of your money, right? And it's very addictive in the sense that you could end up never have gambled in your life, right? But if you win once, you're like, oh snap, I'm good at this. I could win again. This is so easy. I could win again. And this is the same problem like having like a lottery scratch off ticket, right? Now, technically, there's nothing like morally wrong with, just, spending a very, very tiny amount of money to the point where like if you were to burn it in front of you, it would not change your financial life. So for example, let's say someone's making like $50,000 per year after taxes. So that's their like take home pay. And then they like, spend like $10 a month on like a scratch off lottery ticket. That's not going to change their financial life. Technically speaking, they can go do that and not really alter their financial life or like screw themselves financially. But let's say they were to do that, and on like a $10 scratch off ticket, they end up winning like $1,000, right? Well, that's gonna just have like this like hidden like pull to just keep buying more. So instead of like just spending like $10 per month, maybe they're spending $100 per month, or $1,000 per month, or $2,000 per month. And like a good example of this, as to like a real life example, is that very early on in adulthood, in my life and all that kind of stuff, right? When I was like 18, 19, like I'd get like groceries with my dad and all that kind of stuff, right? And we would talk to this like lottery ticket lady, right? And she basically was telling the story of how this individual who was like in his like 60s, right? Basically on the first of every month, which was like basically when he got his social security check, he literally came into the grocery store and cashed out every single dollar, right? So cashed out his whole social security check and spent every single dollar on scratch off lottery tickets. Every single month, on the first of every month, he did this like clockwork, okay? And this is most likely basically all of his money, right? He's probably like barely living a life, because he would do this all the time. Like he would do it every single month, like clockwork, every single month. This dude was addicted, right? And guess what he would do when he won, right? And this is the crazy thing. So when he would win, right? Like if you were to actually like turn a profit in that, time that he cashed out his social security check, he would immediately put every single thing back into more scratch offs. Like he didn't just like take his winnings. He just kept putting it back into scratch offs nonstop, right? So he'll put his whole social security check, let's just say like, I don't know, maybe like $2,000, right? So he puts $2,000 into scratch off lottery tickets, and then whatever he gets that, which is most likely less than that, let's say like he only won like 500 after he spent 2,000, he would put the 500 back into scratch off lottery tickets, and then again, and he'll only make like maybe $50, and then keeps going on and on and on and on to where he's basically completely ran out of money in that single day. He literally would just spend every single thing, every single cent on it. And so this is the problem that you really gotta basically look in the mirror and be honest with yourself, right? So for example, like this situation, right? It's not just the taxes that are the issue, but the taxes are an issue most likely because of this guy's gambling addiction, right? Like if you literally have to take out a loan so that you can go gamble, you have a gambling addiction. And if you have an addiction, guess what? It doesn't matter how much you make. You're going to end up spending every single cent of what you make, right? And this is how you can see like billionaires end up like spending like $100 million per year and just like gambling, right? So this isn't actually like a surprising situation. It's just sad to see someone who is very successful end up basically completely screwing themselves in this situation, right? Like think about this, right? So this is just the taxes that he owes, right? Which meant that he had to have been making a lot of money to owe this amount in taxes, right? Let's just say, like, let's give it like everything like the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he only made like double this because of the crazy taxes of California and all that kind of stuff, right? So let's say that, over the course of this time, he made like $2 million or something like that, right? Or like $2.6 million, right? Just to be on the safe side, which he probably made way more than that. But let's just use that, right? He's making very good income, and yet he can't manage his money, so he's completely screwed, right? And so this is like a perfect example of someone who doesn't have a strong financial foundation, someone who is massively in debt, someone who doesn't understand like anything about finances, and basically shot themselves in the foot, right? And this is like another perfect example of like basically if like a construction worker or someone who's like working at McDonald's, right? And they were like making like minimum wage, right? But if they had a strong financial foundation, they were out of debt, they had an emergency fund, they were slowly putting money into investments like in index funds and all that kind of stuff, right? They would actually be richer than this guy. Like just absorb that information if you stumble upon this episode. That someone making a minimum wage job, if they had no debt, like if they had a strong financial foundation, they would be richer than this guy who's making multiple millions of dollars, right? Just absorb that, right? That's why it's never about how much you make. It's about how much money you can keep and then invest to work for you. So feel free to share this with someone because this is like a perfect example as to someone completely screwing up. By the way, if you need help mastering your money, check out 40bucks.com. Go down in the description below.